Finding a job nowadays when you have nothing to your name as a teenager is Spain without the S, and I've had the absolute pleasure of straight up going to one. Now, I've wanted and still want a computer that has more than 512 megabytes of RAM, a 0.1 megahertz clock speed, and can run the Pong without crashing halfway through. But you see, I don't have the thing that's precious to the world called money, so I had no choice. It was either get a debilitating fast food / retail job, or wait a few millenniums for me to graduate college and maybe have the potential at the slightest chance to get a high-paying profession. Now, I'm a pretty impatient person when it comes to obtaining tech, so I chose the former. I was applying to every establishment that was a reasonable distance from me that I could find, but I committed one teeny tiny mistake. I was applying without a resume. Look, in my head, I thought that when applying with a resume to some jobs is optional, and even with that kind of thinking, by the luck of a rabbit's foot, I managed to get a few acceptances, and one of them was from a close by Wendy's. I had a discussion with one of my friends, and we chose Wednesday, okay? The interview was at 4:45 p.m., and the day of the interview, I was in the counselor's office. I took a quick glance at the window. Yes, we have windows in my school. Kinda a safety hazard with how America is nowadays, you know? I saw little white dots falling from the sky. It was snowing. After the final bell, me and my sister took a go home, and I got ready to go to the interview as if I was armoring up like I was about to take charge of a raid on a medieval castle. I took my bag and my deliciously steamed coffee and then left the house, headed to the bus stop. For the first 5 minutes of the walk, it wasn't too bad. I was still a little cold, never mind the wind and my poor choice of pants. 5 minutes after that, I started experiencing some frostbite in my hands and feet, but my coat was doing a somewhat solid job of keeping me warm. I also saw a kid that couldn't have been older than 8 years old dripped out like the Michelin Man. Then I finally arrived at the bus stop, unlike the bus, foreshadowing.
My ears burn.
And then I waited and waited and waited, but it seemed like the bus would never come. That shit felt longer than watching the entire One Piece. The cold got so bad that I couldn't even use my sister's iPhone she gave me to know where the bus was taking me because my fingers felt like I just dipped them in liquid nitrogen. I had to use my neck for warmth so I could dial the phone number on the bus stop when the next bus would come, which is how it works, or at least where I live. But alas, I stuck it out there because I didn't want to use my mom's money for an Uber, and I was basically an anorexic undercooked sausage at that point. I thought that since I've already been suffering for about, 20 plus minutes, it'd be a great idea to stick it out here for an indefinite amount of time. Then a purple, black, and white vehicle came into my sight. I was free. I got on the bus unknowing of my pointless future and asked the bus driver if I had to scan my ID. He looked at me, Saul Goodman and Homelander. He just told me that I only had to show it to him, and that's it. So I shimmied my way down the aisle, took a seat, looked at Google Maps on my sister's phone, and realized I was going in the opposite direction. At the nearest stop, I sprinted towards the bus driver and asked him if I was on the right bus, even though it was clear as day that I wasn't. He told me that I was supposed to hop on number 4 that was going north, and we're going south. Both buses are labeled as 4, so I don't know how that was not supposed to be confusing for people that have not rode the bus before. Afterwards, I got off the bus and I was walking towards the right bus stop, which was right across the street, which my blind ass didn't have tunnel vision. But then disaster struck when the number 4 bus, yeah, you know that bus? It drove right by me and stopped at the bus station I was supposed to be at. I ran. I ran as fast as my twig legs could take me, but all was in vain, and it left without me. By the way, maybe it was just the cold, or some other second or third factor that I don't know of, but I barely got a glimpse of the bus as it was leaving, and it's still to this day, I'm not sure if that was my bus or not. Anyhow, when I got to the bus station, I checked my sister's phone for the bus's schedule and when the next one would come. It said that the next bus would come in 10 minutes, so I waited some more, okay, and it did come. Now, when I got on the bus, I was somehow just absolutely perplexed at what you should do when you want to stop the bus. I didn't want to pass the Wendy's without even knowing it, because I didn't even know which side of the road it was on. So I asked some random old man on the bus how to stop it, and he looked disturbed after I touched him like I was trying to give him a disease or something. After, he realized that wasn't a threat and told me all you have to do to stop the bus was to pull on the string that was strung across the windows of the bus. Little tongue twister, huh? I think. Right? I guess. I don't even fucking know. Which is different than the lever on the other buses. But before that, he was trying to yap about the history of the bus system of the city I live in, and I wasn't trying to hear all of that. After I got to the Wendy's, I pulled the string-a-bob out and got off the bus. Then I finally walked to the Wendy's and opened the door. I told the cashier, God bless her heart for working on this day that randomly snowed, that I had an interview, and she gave me a cup and told me that the manager would be out soon. I anxiously waited, and that was probably one of the longest, most quiet wait I've been through in my entire life. Top 3, not gonna lie. And what made it worse was that there was nobody in there for me to talk to. Then the manager, the final boss of interviews, the be-all end-all of whether you get hired or left on the sidewalk selling crack to other homeless people, came out at last. She was real brief about what she was trying to tell me, which was that they weren't hiring anymore, and asked me if I wanted to be referred to another Wendy's, or if I wanted to give them my contact info and wait until a position opens up. I gave them my contact info. Look, the other Wendy's were too far for me personally, and I thought that they were going to call me back. Alright, after the news that I didn't get the job, I filled my cup up with some soda I can't remember the name of, took a couple of sips and called an Uber back home that just took more than 5 minutes to arrive, and I wanted to wait for an Uber because waiting for the bus would have taken easily 2 to 3 times as much, and it was getting even colder. But yeah, anyways, subscribe if you haven't already. See ya.
Your life is everything. You serve all purpose. You should treat yourself now and give yourself a piece of that oxygen in the ozone layer that's covered up so that you can breathe in this blue trap bubble. Because you know what I'm here for. To worship you. Love yourself. I mean that with 100%, with 1,000%.